Oh, hello. Can you guys hear me? I guess I'm starting. I guess we started. Can you hear me, Green Smart? I guess you can't talk. Great. I didn't even realize we were starting. I'll just wait for this 3 minutes and you can go ahead and have the first start, I guess. Unless you want to just pass the mic right back instead of talking, and then I'll just take the 3 minute deficit. That's fine with me. I didn't realize you were on here. I was waiting, it didn't notify me. Okay, cool. So I'm Michael. The resolution today is that Mike Pence would be a better president than Donald Trump. I got just two main points in the first speech that I'm going to deal with. The first one is going to deal specifically with how Trump is actually a bad president, and the second one is going to deal with how Pence would be a superior one. So the first one on Trump being bad, there's been a number of issues. His presidency has been considered one of the worst and one of the most absolute disasters just in the first several months that we've seen him in by many political pundits. Many polls support this notion. So I want to go ahead and take a look at just a couple different issues with Trump specifically, a look at some of the scandals he's had, and look at his effectiveness. So first of all, his foreign policy has been an absolute nightmare. He promised that he would have a plan to beat ISIS within 30 days and that they would be beaten. He hasn't come up with a plan. He hasn't revealed the plan. He hasn't done anything about ISIS. His travel ban, which was had a ton of problems, was unconstitutional and got overturned by multiple courts. Aside from that, he has huge problems with Russia, as evidenced by the scandal that's been in the news. And if you've seen anything about the news, the collusion potentially that's there has been something of national interest and international interest as well. He said he was going to build a border wall. He hasn't done that. He said Mexico is going to pay for it, and Mexico has insisted they won't pay for it. The bottom line is this. He's been a total loose cannon, and he hasn't gotten anything done. He said he was going to repeal Obamacare and replace it. He hasn't repealed it. He hasn't replaced it. He hasn't done anything good. He's gotten nothing done whatsoever, and he's had a number of scandals, which overall have had a negative effect on his presidency. Specifically, Gallup reported 6 days ago. If you don't know what Gallup is a polling institution. They gather all like the top 10 polls and they put them together. They said that his approval rating was at 34%, which is the lowest of any president at this point in the presidency in the history of the United States. Basically, the bottom line here is Trump has been awful in terms of scandals, and he hasn't gotten anything that he said he was going to do done, thus his approval rating. Now I want to talk about why Pence would be a superior alternative. First of all, Pence has a track record of being successful politically. He's had over 20 years in politics. He's had no scandals. He's had no craziness, and he was incredibly successful when he was governor of Indiana. This is evidenced by the fact that the people voted him in, first of all. But his approval rating, according to Gallup, was viewed very favorably in the state of Indiana. One specific poll that replies to specifically to this debate is that 62% of Democrats said that they would prefer a Mike Pence presidency over a Donald Trump one. The public advocacy supports this notion. Basically, he doesn't tweet things that cause instability. He doesn't cause nuclear states to get mad at him. And he doesn't tweet threats to other countries without consulting his White House staff, which, by the way, has mostly, by and large, abandoned him. The bottom line is that the predictability and stability offered by Mike Pence would be far better than that of Trump's. Look at the turnover of Trump's White House staff. Look at his approval ratings. Look at the fact that he's got nothing done. Say what? Did you just pass the mic back? I'll pass it back.
Pass it back. Please. Okay, good. I have it. Do I have it? Can you hear me? My thing's frozen now. Great. Okay, so you mentioned a lot of things, and they're nice. It's political fodder. Fodder. It's really cute. I enjoy it. You mentioned political pundits. So who are these pundits? Van Jones. You're talking about polls. Trump was horrible in the polls the whole time. So like scandals and collusion and this and that. You're wrapped up in a storybook. And really the only scandal and collusion that we have going on is like Trump picks Mike Pence, who's for the TPP, and Mike Pence is gay. And he's running on an anti-gay Republican ticket, running around. He's total establishment, running around. Basically, he's like Smithers to Mr. Burns, is Mike Pence to Trump. The guy is a creep. He looks like the freaking guy, the crazy guy in freaking, the Da Vinci Code. That creepy freaking demonic guy that like runs around in the Da Vinci Code. That's what Mike Pence looks like. You know, you mentioned things like the border wall. You mentioned things like pissing off people with nukes. You mentioned things like 62% of the Democrats. Well, of course, 62% of the Democrats like somebody who cover up who they are and can't even honor the truth, you know, and run a big scandal right before your eyes, because that's all leftism really is. But Pence is probably the worst possible guy anybody could have from the right spectrum. He's disgusting. He's a liar. He's for the TPP. He's like about the only thing Mike Pence was able to do was beat the only person who's slightly creepier than him in a debate, and that was Tim Kaine. I mean, it's an absolute joke. You can get into Trump all you want. At least Trump has the charisma to lie to us and say we're going to get a border wall. At least he has the charisma to know what we're going to like. Pence is a total, like, he's a creepazoid. He's like it was really disgusting that Trump even picked him. But Pence is like from the same camp as Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, just on the right. You know, him eventually he's going to drop the same bull crap that McCain did. Listen, we can villainize Trump all you want, but Mike Pence is an absolute creepazoid. He's a freak. He's disgusting, and he's not even honest about himself.
Okay, I'm getting a lot of Mike Pence is creepy. I'll ask you a quick question. I'll just pass it back. Do you support the principles and policies of Trump?
Do I support the presidential policies of Trump? I would love to until I get my tax cut. Like I'm furious that I haven't gotten a tax cut yet. So I really can't really get into that. But would Mike Pence have given us a tax cut? I mean, that's irrelevant. Mike Pence would have like really done some creepy stuff. Like he probably would have like tried instituting don't ask, don't tell. I mean, I know Trump did the transgender thing. Like, trust me, I probably like transgender people 10 times more than you do. Believe me. But we shouldn't be paying for that nonsense. It's like I got locked up last week. Not that bad, but I was sitting there on the bench talking to this kid next to me. He got caught with 19 grams of crack. So he's going away for 5 years. That's $350,000 over his sentence that we're spending on this numbnut idiot. For what? So there's no policies that I like. What I do know, though, is that Trump at least is an individual. Yeah, he's an egomaniac. Yeah, he thinks he's the next George S. Patton. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. He's on a hinge. He's this, he's that. But Mike Pence is like the epitome of a snake in the grass. Like, you could tell me Rand Paul, you could even maybe make an argument for Ted Cruz or blah, 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 or tell me Cory Booker, blah, 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 blah. But Mike Pence is the absolute biggest creep in all of politics besides maybe Andrew Cuomo. I mean, it's just plain and simple. The guy's disgusting. Actually, I contradicted myself because I left Tim Kaine out of it. That guy's pretty gross too. So, you know, what would Pence do to lead us? Is it like, at least, our country is dominantly brainwashed and controlled by the Bolsheviks. But if it wasn't, and it was a neutral country, and you are seeing an uprising, and you are seeing, it might not be what the left wants to see, but you are seeing him energize certain populations. I mean, if we were on a clean slate and everything could be perfect, and we were in a utopia, Trump would actually be able to energize us. Mike Pence? If Mike Pence, I would probably just. I mean, I would just question my existence if that guy was president. I mean, he's the most spineless man on the face of the planet. I just don't understand how anybody could go with this. No.
Okay, so thanks for answering the question. I'll get to a couple different points that you've made. Starting off with this last one, just this notion that Pence is spineless. I vehemently disagree. Pence has been in politics for 20 years and has held to the exact same principles that he held 20 years ago. This notion that he's spineless and just like flip-flops and caves to pressure is absolutely ridiculous. Now, Trump, however, I could definitely agree is spineless because he used to be a Democrat, and then, all of a sudden the presidency came available and became open, and he just decided to all of a sudden flip all of his political positions. I think that speaks more to his spinelessness than Pence's, but that's kind of an irrelevant point. Let's look at your individual arguments. So your first one is that Mike Pence is creep, and that he looks creepy. I don't think that the looks of the president should dictate whether or not he's actually superior. Like the looks of the president don't determine if he's going to make good policy, if he's going to do things that are good for the people. That's just absolutely absurd. However, you make this notion that he's creepy. I'll turn this argument. Trump has literally said that if Ivanka Trump wasn't his daughter, he would probably date her. He's had 24 sexual assault cases brought against him in the last several years. He's the epitome of a creep. Like you have zero warrants for why Pence is creepy other than he looks creepy. You haven't given me a single example of how he actually is creepy. This notion of the drug war, you talked about your friend, getting arrested. I don't like the drug war. I really don't think we should have the war on drugs. The reality is, though, Trump has not done anything to reverse the war on drugs. Rather, the person he appointed, Jeff Sessions, has been vehemently pro-drug war and has done lots of things to support it, and Trump has been in favor of it as well. So you can't claim this unique benefit of Mike Pence or of this unique problem with Mike Pence when Trump has all the same problems. Here's the bottom line. You've given me no examples of something of a problem with Pence that Trump doesn't also have. Yet I've given you tons of different examples of problems that are unique to Trump that Pence doesn't have. The fact that Trump has zero political success and the fact that Trump is a loose cannon means he's always going to be superior to Mike Pence. Pence is at least going to be predictable. Pence is at least going to have political success and know that he should probably condemn white supremacists within the first couple days and shouldn't just blame all sides when white supremacists kill people. He's at least going to be predictable and stable and have political experience. This notion that Pence is a creep because he's anti-gay is sure, we can agree he's potentially anti-gay. It doesn't matter though, because Trump literally just banned transgender people from the military. Like for you to pretend like Trump is some LGBT rights, hero is absurd. Here's the bottom line. You haven't addressed my issues about how Pence is effective as a politician and a leader. Trump has had all these different scandals and he's gotten nothing done. At the very least, Pence has 20 years of experience and good approval ratings as the governor of Indiana. Trump has the worst approval ratings of any president in history at this point in the presidency, and he's had nothing but scandals and he's gotten nothing done. There's nothing uniquely bad about Pence that Trump doesn't also have, but I've clearly shown some unique problems with Trump.
So that was cute. You mentioned some sex scandals, and the leadership of Michael Pence is so dull and so disgusting. Trump has 26 of these cockamamie things about these cockamamie maniacs. Well, what about the cockamamie picture of Mike Pence being gay? He actually is gay. He actually went to conversion therapy, and now the guy is leading the charge and being the most anti-gay freaking person ever and being behind an anti-gay administration while he sits there playing pocket pool like Smithers the whole freaking time for a la Donald Trump because the man's spineless. There's nothing that Pence came out and spoke against Trump vehemently on. Nothing. Pence, let's see. Pence, what is he doing to reach out to Paul Ryan and help, you know, that administration out? What did Pence do? Pence was leading the recruitment team. He's the one who's like, yeah, maybe you should pick this maniac Jeff Sessions so we will never be legal. And he's sitting there and he's going along with it. You know, you said Trump was a Democrat. Trump was a Democrat. Trump did the Reform Party. But Trump never sold himself out. He never sold out his principles. You know, even in the debate when he was called out on not paying taxes, you know, he said it was because he's smart. Now, if you want to lead to a scandal like why didn't he release his tax returns, blah, 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 blah. All I'm saying is like, you can sit there and you can tell me that Trump is horrible, and until I get my tax cut, I'm not going to make a stand either way. Although the stock market has, you know, gone through the roof, the Dow's at its all-time high, consumer confidence is freaking has a hard on, blah 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 blah. Everything's going to be great. But Mike Pence is a sellout. He is 20 years experience in like hardcore federal and executive state level politics. And he's never really led any frontier. He's never really led any revolution. He's just another mainstream political hack who works for the same system that has us enslaved and is not willing to do anything to change it. Is Trump a disappointment? Yes. But Pence is just another scumbag politician.
Okay, so I get there's a couple different points that I see here. First of all, I answered all your arguments about him being anti-gay, about the drug war, about he's creepy, and you don't offer any analysis on how Trump actually supports the drug war because he nominated Jeff Sessions and his certain support. You don't offer me analysis or a response to my analysis about how Trump has literally banned transgender people from the military. That's worse than anything Mike Pence did in terms of being anti-gay, quote unquote. Trump literally disenfranchised an entire portion of the population from entering the military. Whether you like that or not, if your argument is going to be Mike Pence is anti-gay, therefore Trump is better, you're forgetting to compare the two because Trump is literally more anti-gay. All Pence did in Indiana was offer government funding for optional conversion therapy for gay people. So he didn't force it on them. He didn't actually, his policies didn't affect anybody unless they wanted to be unless they wanted to go into conversion therapy and actually wanted to be affected by it. You don't offer any analysis here. You don't offer any analysis on how Trump is literally more creepy than Mike Pence, although I think this is a stupid point anyway. All you say is that Mike Pence is gay and now, or was gay, and now he's anti-gay. I think it's kind of ridiculous. First of all, who cares if he was gay and if now anti-gay? I think it's kind of irrelevant to the debate. I don't understand what the impact of the argument is. And then the only other thing I get outside of just your rambling about how Pence is a sellout and he doesn't do anything good, he's never done anything, he's never led a revolution or anything, is that the Dow is high. A couple different responses to this. The first one is that you give no analysis on why Trump has uniquely caused the Dow to go up. So like you can't claim that like, oh, Trump's policies have boosted investor confidence. Or Trump's policies have affected the stock market in any way, shape, or form. But secondly, like I'm totally outweighing you in every other thing. Like if this was like 4-year presidency and we could like, well, here's 4 years of statistics and Trump like improved the stock market by X number of points over 4 years, you can make a case for this. But the Dow goes up, it fluctuates up and down all the time. There's no unique reason why Trump has improved it. Here's the bottom line. The bottom line is you have one job in this debate round. All you have to do is not say that Pence is bad, but show me how Pence is uniquely worse than Donald Trump. I've given you a ton of arguments for why Trump is actually uniquely worse. I've talked about his scandals. I've talked about how he hasn't gotten anything done. And I've talked about Pence's track record and his stability. The bottom line is this. The predictability and stability offered by Pence would be far better than the total loose cannon that is Donald Trump. Look at the turnover over Trump's White House. Look at all the policies that he's tried to pass that he's failed at passing. Look at the fact that there's no border wall. Look at the fact that he didn't denounce white supremacists. Look at the fact that his travel ban got overturned because it was unconstitutional. Look at the fact that his business interests create a conflict of interest. He hasn't repealed Obamacare. He doesn't have a plan to beat ISIS. These are all unique reasons for why Trump is worse. And all you have to say is, well, Pence is kind of a creep.
Yeah, it pretty much is all I have to say. Every single thing that you rattled off about Trump, not denouncing white supremacy, being supposedly being this horrible person, and blah 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 blah, and disenfranchising all transgender people, blah blah blah. What business is it of yours that Mike Pence was gay? Well, it is my business, because like, if you Mike Pence did conversion therapy, okay? There are more gay pictures of Mike Pence than there ever were of Marco Rubio. So here you have this man who's running this administration, or helping to run the Trump administration. He is the vice president, and he's selling out on his own principles of not accepting this homosexuals, just as he faced that battle. And he hasn't done anything else on any other level to come out and steer Trump in the right direction, advise him. At least Paul Ryan came out and made like verbal stands against him. Mike Pence never made a verbal stand against anyone in his life. Mike Pence, the man that Mike Pence is the perfect vice president to Donald Trump, because all Mike Pence is a little puppet. Now, maybe you'd rather Mike Pence be the puppet to the people that are really in charge and not have Trump in there. And that's a whole nother debate. But Mike Pence is nothing but, flesh on a string. He has no spine. He has no backbone. He has no principle. He shows up, he smiles, and he supports Trump on every little thing that he does. And if you think Trump is that disgusting, and there's so many goddamn things to be outraged about, well, then where's Mike Pence's leadership in putting an end to it? Mike Pence is just smiling and dialing and along for the ride, and he's just a snake in the grass. You could vilify Trump all you want, and we can go back and forth. And we could even say Trump's morally twisted, but we'd have to say that at least he has some character, and maybe on a different playing field or at a different time in history, blah 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 blah, he'd be able to do something good. But there's absolutely nothing at all to Michael Pence's character, and the proof is in the pudding. He's Donald Trump's vice president, and he has not done anything to take a stand against the atrocities.
Wait, so your argument for why Mike Pence is worse is that Trump is so bad, but Mike Pence hasn't done anything about it? See the Snopes article I posted below about how Mike Pence was not gay, and no, he did not undergo gay conversion therapy. Are you like trolling me, dude?
Oh, it's my turn to speak? Okay, so Snopes wrote that Mike Pence isn't gay. Dude, look at the pictures, man. The guy's gay. He's like, and he has a family, but so did Jerry Sandusky. Look at the guy. Mike Pence is the biggest. God couldn't create a bigger looking creep than Mike Pence, except maybe Tim Kaine. The guy is a god awful creep. Okay, he is like the creepy guy on Trump's shoulder. Yeah. Let's pick Jeff Sessions. Let's put Rick Perry in charge of the environment. Yeah. Like, come on, man, get with the program. Like, if you wanted to pick somebody in Trump's administration and rattle off how hard, like a guy like Rick Perry, you could tell me he's horrible all day long. At least he has some character. Like I said, Ron Paul, at least he has some character. At least John Kasich was, although he worked for freaking Lehman Brothers when they collapsed and got like a huge bonus and is a scumbag himself, at least he had enough character to take Trump on. Like, Mike Pence is a little creepy puppet, man. Like, come on. Like, you don't see this?
Okay, so your argument is that you've seen pictures of Mike Pence and have determined that he is gay based off of the pictures that you've seen. And also that he and your support for that is that he is creepy. So like, first of all, the notion that, okay, I don't even know where to start. Like, I don't even think that merits a response. Like, you can't say X person is gay because of a picture that you've seen of them. Like, I don't understand how you would determine that he's gay because he's like been married for 20 years to his wife and has like, I'm kind of speechless at that, actually. But let's look at your last point where we do agree. You argue that Mike Pence is a puppet politically, that he's stable. This is actually just goes back to support my point. Here's the reality. I totally would prefer a puppet president who's going to do what his constituents want and who's going to, accept bipartisan support on certain issues and who's going to be stable and he's going to do things politically instead of tweeting out at other countries threatening them. The bottom line is this, and you haven't addressed any of my points. In fact, in the last speech, you literally just said, I agree with all of that, but all I'm going to say is that Pence is a creep. The bottom line is this: Pence is stable. Pence is not a loose cannon. Trump is a total loose cannon. So just on the predictability and the political experience argument alone, I'm winning, and that's gonna outweigh any argument that says I think he's gay because I saw pictures of him and I think he's a creep. Like that's just like the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Okay, first of all, that's not the stupidest thing anyone's ever heard. The man is a creep. He's a creepazoid. A creep's a creep's a creep. There's absolutely nothing, not one thing that you've said this whole time that's like, you know what? I mean, I've done it. I've been on this debate thing. Like, I know people take it real seriously, and they like do whatever they can to win. But like, all you've done is ramble on and ramble on and ramble on and defend whether the guy's gay or not. There's absolutely nothing to Mike Pence. Absolutely nothing. Now, if you want a man who's going to go with the system, would we have ever had Abraham Lincoln to create a civil war and free the slaves? If you want a man who's going to go along with nothing, would we ever have had Thomas Jefferson and George Washington? You want a man that's just going to go along with the status quo and do what he's going to do. You're going to have George Herbert Walker Bush. You're going to have Ronald Reagan. You're going to have Richard Nixon.
Yes, I absolutely think George Bush and Ronald Reagan are better presidents than Donald Trump. Don't compare Donald Trump to Abraham Lincoln and say that Donald Trump is going to free the slaves when literally this last weekend he did not condemn freaking white supremacy and Nazism. Comparing Trump to somebody who's going to free the slaves is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It's even stupider and even more ridiculous than saying that Mike Pence is gay because you saw pictures of him on the internet. Look, here's the bottom line. You haven't addressed any of my analysis on Trump scandals or how Trump is completely ineffective. And how Pence has a higher approval rating than Trump. Trump has the lowest approval rating in literally presidential history, and how most people prefer Pence to him. The bottom line, Trump is a total loose cannon. Pence is unpredictable. Your arguments have no substance. You've offered no legitimate analysis. And I ask you to vote for my side.